Hey, what's up everybody? It's Rex here with Carboneer Plus. I want to take a few minutes while we've got a project in paint to share some of our process and products we use. Oddly enough, this is the most common question I get about everything that we do is about paint. What kind of paint, what kind of primer, what kind of sprayer, what kind of tips. It's kind of strange to me, but nevertheless, it's a relevant question that we get a lot. So thought we'd take a few minutes and walk you through our space here and then also our products here. So to start off with, the camera there is set up in the doorway. Behind that is the shop. This room is about 10 by 16, give or take. We've got another doorway here that goes out to the hall. We've got our sink and our paint storage out here. We've got a good strong exhaust fan behind us, and a window for natural light. That's pretty much the base of the paint room here. So we'll get into some of our products here, but we're not going to really do a tutorial on how to spray paint. There's countless resources out there for you to look into that, educate yourself. Tons of information out there. Even just reading the owner's manual for your sprayer is going to teach you a lot. And then the next best thing, it may be the best way to learn how to spray, is to just start spraying. Practice on some cardboard, make mistakes, fix those mistakes, and then learn from that. That's probably the best learning tool there is. So the sprayer, we like this Graco X5 airless sprayer. Personally, never had much luck with HVLP guns, but and I know there's other brands out there. This isn't necessarily a promo for Graco. This is just the only brand I've ever used. I've had good luck with it and never had any other reasons to try other brands. So what I particularly like about this unit is it's cheap. You can buy these for around 300 bucks. And if you're like me, I'm not great at maintaining my stuff. So if I make a mistake and don't get something cleaned out or take care of it as well as I should, it doesn't last 5 or 10 years, it's not a loss. Quite frankly, if I get a year out of these, I'm pretty happy with that. So they're affordable, and I think they do just as good a job. And they do a good enough job for what I need. So we're not using anything special here with the gun. This is just the gun that comes with it. What I do like are these FFLP tips. So it's FFLP, it's fine finish, low pressure. So you do spray at a much lower pressure, and you have more control, less overspray, less waste, and finer finish. You will need to, well, I'd show you here, but this tip's all covered in white. But that's a blue spray guard. So you'll have to buy the spray guard as well, because the green FFLP tips do not fit in the orange guard that comes with your gun. So you will have to swap that out. So that pretty much covers the sprayer and why I like it. It's pretty simple to use. There's nothing. It's got a little prime lever. You get it primed. You got a pressure dial over here, but it's really pretty user friendly and simple. All right. So for primer, I primarily use this Zinsser Bullseye 123. So some pros and cons. The pros are right on the front of the bucket, of course. Primer for all surfaces, sticks to all surfaces without sanding, blocks stains, and it dries pretty quick. So we do a fair amount of kitchen refinishing, and we're generally not sanding those cabinets all the way down to bare wood. We're prepping them, we're cleaning them, prepping them, deglossing them a little bit, and then using this primer here because it sticks. This doesn't sand super great. It doesn't sand to that fine powder that we like, but so when we're using it in the shop, in the paint room here. It's a little bit less than ideal. I still think it does a good job. It's just a little bit extra effort in the sanding process. But it's also good about blocking stains, and that's probably the main reason I like it, is it's going to block those stains, those tannins that are in the woods. I've used other primers and I've had tannins from poplar and maple bleed through, and that should not happen. You expect that with oak or cedar or whatever, but not with poplar and maple. So this stuff does a good job of sealing those tannins so you don't get knot stains or anything else that wants to come through. I think that's about it on the primer. Oh, just real quick on the sanding. Sanding is a process that you have to do after your primer, or generally speaking, your first coat of finish. We hear about the term about raises the grain. So generally that first coat is going to raise the grain. So if you think about a piece of paper that gets wet, it's going to swell and then it's going to dry and contract. And that process happens the same with wood, and when that happens, it swells and dries and contracts, and that raises the grain. And then you've got a finish that dries hard, and then all of a sudden you've got what was a smooth piece of wood is now rough. So you've got to sand it, and usually that's the only time you really need to sand it. Unless you're just really trying to get a super fine finish in between coats, you can. But usually once it's been sealed with primer or poly or lacquer or any type of varnish, once it's been sealed and then sanded, it's good to go. So I do get some questions about that, so hopefully that answers that question. So as far as our cabinet paint that we like, we've got two. The first one here is this emerald urethane from Sherwin-Williams. It's a great paint, dries hard. It's a urethane trim enamel. I think anything with the word enamel is going to be good and dry hard enough for what we're doing here. And it goes on smooth. It sprays really good. It goes on smooth and just looks really nice. And again, it dries hard. It doesn't dry super fast, which is the downside to it. Although it's not too bad, especially with their whites. Their whites are good. But with our darker pigments, it has a tendency to dry, kind of slow. So you can see we've got a rack here with all our doors and shelves on it. So we've got to wait till that first side is dry enough to flip. So this stuff's dry to the touch right now, but I won't flip it till tomorrow. This was sprayed this morning, just because it's got to sit, on itself on the rack. So with dark pigments, you might have to wait 2 days, and I ain't trying to do that. So I also have been using this Dutch Boy cabinet trim paint. Very similar paint. It's a water-based alkyd enamel, but it acts very similar, but it dries a little faster, especially with their darker pigments. They don't have the lag that the emerald urethane has on the darker pigments. So yeah, like I said, there's just countless resources out there to find more information. I think I've covered what I had in my notes here. Yeah. So I did, like I said, I sprayed all this stuff this morning. I got a little bit of video of that, so I will kind of add some clips in here. So our process here, we've got the exhaust fan. We got this cart here with a couple pyramids on it. So we're taking our doors off, laying them here right in front of the fan with it going, spraying it back on the rack, going through that process, and then spraying the cabinets that we have in here, and then that completes a coat. So again, I'm not really looking to get into technique and teaching you how to spray, just taking some time here to share how we go about it. So hopefully you found it useful, and I appreciate you watching. All right, so one more detail I wanted to add about the paint and the primer and the sprayer for that matter, is this is not necessarily a product endorsement for these products, these brands or whatever. It's just what we use. Like I said in the beginning, I'm doing this video just to answer these questions because we get asked so many times. I know that there are many other good quality brands of paint and primer and sprayers to use. So, you know, this is just what we use. This is what we've tried out, and we've had good success with it. But you know, maybe you know of something else, and that's fine too. I'm not trying to open up a debate here on what's the best this or that. You may know better than I do what another good paint is. So I just wanted to put that out there. We're just trying to share what we know about what we're using, and again, hopefully it helps somebody.
All right, as I had mentioned previously, we had done some spraying earlier in the morning, so here's a little bit of that footage. The process of spraying our doors. Load them on the rack. And we'll speed it up a little bit for the rest of them.